It's like Christmas morning.
It is, and we're live.
We are live. Hey everyone. We'll give everyone a couple minutes to get logged on, get caught up. Welcome to the Mike Staff Productions Facebook page. You kind of met us last week if you caught our live last Wednesday, but we'll reintroduce ourselves so you can kind of get a feel for what we're going to be doing each week here on our Facebook page. I'm Lauren. I'm the social media manager here at Mike Staff Productions. And this guy next to me is our director of photography. He plays a pretty important role in the company. This is Chris Zeman, and he's really going to be acting as our expert for the next couple of weeks as we really dive into this wedding photography education series. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm ready for it. I'm excited. We've talked about this for a while. We've kind of thrown the idea around of like, hey, could we help our brides out before the wedding? And can we help out just prospective clients with ideas and kind of let our years of experience, you know, kind of move forward through the process?
Absolutely. So Chris, tell the folks, couples, brides, potential couples that we're going to be working with, a little bit about your background.
Sure.
Why you're such an expert.
So I have been a professional wedding photographer for 18 years now. I have been director of photography for Mike Staff for 6 years, almost 6 years, my sixth season. Previously, I ran a family and portrait studio for 7 years. I've been in wedding photography since I was 12.
Wow.
So I actually grew up going on weddings with my mom when it was film and everything else. So to say that weddings are in my blood, it's pretty accurate.
And he really... This has been a very busy day. He and some of his team just wrapped up an off-camera lighting workshop here in the studio. We had a ton of our wedding photographer contractors here just kind of brushing up, learning the details, and now we're doing this. So we are all about educating our team, educating our couples, and that's why we want to do this. So let's kind of dive right in. Number one, we've got Natalie, another one of our Mike Staff Productions team members, monitoring your comments and your questions. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you want to know about.
We want to know how we can help.
Yes.
All those questions that you're waiting till you talk to your photographer to ask, or you're waiting till you meet with a photographer, or those questions that you're just like, should I ask this?
Exactly.
Like, is it a weird question? I promise you it's not. Ask it. Let us help. We've probably gotten that question many times before, and if you throw us a new one, awesome, because I want to help.
So Natalie will be reading off your questions at the end of the live here, and we'll make sure we answer them immediately as we're going through. And we also want to hear some of the topics and ideas that you want to know about as well. So drop those in the comments, and we'll get to those in the previous weeks. But today, we're going to be talking about Instagram-worthy photography locations, because let's face it, architecture, graffiti, nature, they're becoming the focal point.
Yes.
Not necessarily the bride and groom. I snagged one of our wedding albums, and here, like the door, the vines, then you see the couple.
You have the framing, you have the options. What clients are really asking for now, and what we as photographers are trying to give to them, is more than just capturing their day, but giving them pieces of art with them in it on their wedding day. Helping them create pieces of art they can put on their wall. Most couples will tell you they don't want to do a huge headshot of them on the wall, but a big piece of art with them in it really captures their day and the elements of their day.
So what should a couple consider when they're choosing a location to try to get that Instagram worthy, to get that art piece that they want to hang on their wall?
So things to always look at and be aware of would be the surrounding areas in relatively close distance to either their venue or their ceremony or their getting ready location.
That's key.
That's key, because you want to make sure that the shots you're going to want to get that day make and fit their timeline. You don't want to be driving 3 hours out of your way and spending your whole wedding in a bus or in the limo. So figuring out a prospective range is step one.
Okay.
Step two is talking with your photographer about ideas you have. Everyone's on Pinterest. Hey, I'm on Pinterest too these days. I'm guilty of it. But there's just so much information on there. There's so many options. So figuring out the style that you're looking for. Some clients want more of an architectural background.
Sure.
They're going to love downtown Detroit. They're going to love downtown Ann Arbor, places like that. Some clients really want a nature background. There's a lot of public parks, different golf courses, and areas you can get into to get more of that nature feel.
And part of it is probably also letting your photographer, putting trust in your photographer, because they're going to have an eye.
Sure.
You may think a doorway or an archway, there's nothing pretty about it. But
Sure.
when they get you lined up under
Yep.
there perfectly. For
Yep.
example, I mean, this is at Meadowbrook. We know Meadowbrook is just gorgeous.
All
and
the time.
It may be hard to see, but here, just roll with us.
Yep.
We've got, I mean, this couple right here, just by a simple doorway archway.
Doorway with the pose, but also the things that are being taken in consideration now is that he's in a blue tux. They're
Okay.
contrasting that with more of an earth tone background
Sure.
with the greens, which is why that tux is really going to pop out. If you notice here, her white or ivoryish dress is against a darker brown. She's going to stand out more than she would against this stark white sky.
All right. All good tips.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What else are we talking about? What makes a wedding photo? And we may have kind of just answered this, but what makes a wedding photo Instagram worthy? When you post it up,
Sure.
what's going to make someone click the heart and like it?
So step one is emotion.
Okay.
You can have the most gorgeous background in the world, the most picturesque, beautiful sunset, but if the bride and groom aren't interacting and there's no emotion between them, everyone sees that right away, right? So you want to make sure you're being yourself, you're being genuine, you're being natural. You don't want to lose that moment of that just married, freshly in love, so excited. They're on this, what we call the wedding high, right after the ceremony. You want to see that connection. If that connection's not there, it doesn't matter what's going on.
And also, feeling comfortable with your photographer is going to allow you to feel natural. So I would imagine, having a couple conversations with your photographer prior, or
Yes.
if you have that engagement shoot, it's kind of just like letting go of the nerves,
Yeah,
right?
yep. You're kind of getting those spider webs out. The other thing is the average person, since they did senior pictures, probably hasn't been professionally photographed.
Right. That's
We
true.
all have our iPhones, we all have our family shoots, things like that. But to really spend multiple hours as the center of attention, I mean, bride and groom, they become models for the day. They
Right.
really do. And honestly, they're modeling longer than if I brought a model in for a corporate shoot, right?
Right.
So they need to be comfortable with the interaction and just what you said, talking with your photographer, going over things. I get clients all the time, especially grooms, that'll say, I'm really not comfortable in front of the camera. What that normally actually translates to is, I'm not used to it. Okay? So we try to be very open in that conversation. If you're not comfortable in front of the camera, if you're not used to it, if you have any sort of apprehensions, tell your photographer. Have the conversation. Let the professional help you. You're not the first one to tell us that.
Yeah.
You're probably not the first one that month to tell us that.
No, not at
let
all.
us help you work through that.
We actually had some photographers here in the studio kind
Yeah.
of going over, getting ready for their wedding this weekend, and they
Yeah.
were talking about all the little things that the groom and the bride, just their thoughts and emotions beforehand.
Absolutely.
And they know they're
Yep.
going to be ready. Okay, and just keep in mind, we posted a bunch of links in the post, and particularly the next question, you may want to click on that link because Instagram-worthy locations may come with an added cost.
They might.
Permits, fees, if you want to go to Belle Isle now, or I don't know, Stony Creek, state parks, you have to kind of keep in mind that you may have to get through like security or have a permit
Yes.
or a pass. So
Yes.
how do couples and the wedding photographer kind of overcome that hurdle?
So step one is figuring out the location and whether or not you do or don't need a pass.
Sure.
If you need a pass, it's figuring out what you need the pass for. Some locations, a pass will get you in for the whole day.
Right.
And it'll mean you can just go shoot there, no
Like a
problem.
flat rate.
Flat rate, and you're in and you're good to go. Some of the different state parks, you'll have to have the passport sticker
Right,
for things
right.
like that. Stony Creek, you need a Metro pass.
And that just comes with planning.
It's
You
all
have to
about
plan ahead.
preparation.
Yeah.
But you will come to some places that will say, your pass gets you 2 hours. Belle Isle is a great example. Belle Isle will give you a window because it's a popular location. Now, people are always nervous about, is it worth the money? Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
here's the main reason. You're now the only photographer and only group allowed to shoot at that time.
Wow.
So you're not battling with backgrounds and other bridal parties showing up.
You know what? I wonder if we have. This looks like maybe Belle Isle.
Yep, I think there's some in there.
We'll flip through this. But yeah, the link in our post, we kind of break down all across Metro Detroit some of the most popular areas that require permission,
Yes.
fees, and permits. So it's really, like you said, about planning ahead.
Yep.
But those can be some of the most beautiful spots to get your pictures
Absolutely.
taken out. I
And
would
that's
imagine.
why they do require the permit, because It's a popular location. The permit isn't just there to help fund the grounds. The permit is also regulating the amount of traffic coming in and out of that location.
All right, so let's be realistic. Not everyone is going to get married at, maybe the Meadowbrooks or have the perfect photography location
Yes.
in between your ceremony and your reception.
Yep.
You may be at a standard hall, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But there are so many incredible venues that have great service, but they don't necessarily have all of those wow elements that you can see with the naked eye.
Yep.
So if that's you, or if you don't stumble upon that Instagram worthy location, how can a photographer really make an ordinary location extraordinary
Sure.
through their photos?
Sure. So 2 ways we go about it, okay? The first way, the easiest way, is we try to find a location that is public access, very close to the venue if possible.
Like what? Like what's an
public
example?
park is probably the most common. There are hundreds and hundreds in Oakland County, Macomb County, Wayne County, all through Southeast Michigan of parks you can go and just walk into. I tell a lot of times people say, hey, use Google Maps, do an overhead, look for those green park outlines, and then use your satellite view and look in, and you can see a lot from that. You can see if there's heavy trees, you can see if there's a ball diamond in the middle. And I tell couples, go drive around your area beforehand. See if that background even looks cool to you. See if you're okay with walking there. A lot of brides will have a long train, and I say,
Right.
listen, make sure the location we're going to, you're comfortable with your train being down.
All those little details that you
Little
don't
tiny
think about.
things, right?
And I would imagine you don't need much. Maybe some
No.
branches, or like you said, that color scheme.
Yes.
What are some of those little elements that can really make a picture pop that may just seem kind of bland to us on a daily basis?
Sure. So, for example, we were just talking about using our off-camera lighting. Okay, we're
Yeah.
going through a lot of it with the
Yeah.
team and using flash and things like that. What we'll do is when we bring that outside, we're able to then kind of separate our client from the backdrop. When
Okay.
we're lighting our client a certain way, we're using professional lighting to light our client. It's going to make them pop off anything I put them in front of, whether it be a white wall,
Sure.
whether it be a gorgeous nature background, whether it be an open field or the lake.
I have to say, I mean, we've got a white background behind us. We have some of those lights.
Yep, we do.
And we think we look pretty nice.
I'm okay with it
today.
right now.
I'm
Yeah,
okay
I'm pretty
with it.
comfortable with it.
So the point is, you don't necessarily need to have this wow background
Right.
to have a wow photo.
Right. Great example is if you look at our Instagram stories today, you'll see some of the behind
Yeah.
the scenes of the
Yep.
studio and what's around it. It looks a lot more raw around us than what
For
you
sure.
see right here, okay? That's a great example. There's
right.
a lot of parks you can go to that you can get beautiful backgrounds with just a simple tree.
And to kind of go back to what we were talking about, the permits and being the
Yeah.
only people on Belle Isle, here was a wedding. I mean, this is the bridal party acting
Yep.
goofy in front of the gorgeous
Totally.
fountain, but I mean, this was their day.
This was their day, this
Their
was their
moment
spot. If you notice, you don't see any other bridal parties in the background, they're not cluttering it. It's just them there. That's what the permit's doing. It's allowing them to be able to capture what they're looking for. And honestly,
Yeah.
their amount of time there is probably only an hour, half hour sometimes. So it's not a ton of time to get all those photos done at that location.
Okay, and last question. How much time
Mm-hmm.
should a couple kind of allot for romantics?
Yeah, great question. So the one thing I always explain to clients is we're looking for an hour to an hour and a half at our minimum, if possible, okay? And that's not counting travel time, drive time.
Sure.
And things that will change that is if you have a huge bridal party, so things we're gonna always wanna get is not only just the bride and groom together, that's our main section. We wanna do probably 30 to 45 minutes of bride and groom together, but we also wanna get another 15 minutes of just the bridal party. We're also going to want to get a shot of the bride with each of her bridesmaids, the groom with each of his groomsmen, along with group shots. So there's a lot of combinations, depending if they have one photographer, two photographer. So when we only get 30 minutes, we're very limited. We're trying to squish stuff.
Sure.
That's where a lot of clients, if they have a ceremony that goes right into cocktail hour, right into dinner, will recommend a first look.
Right.
Because then they get that their first look is private time, just the two of them to see each other, and then we have plenty of time throughout the day to get photos.
And we're going to be diving into topics throughout the next couple of weeks, like first
Yes.
look. Do you need a second photographer? Because there are so many elements to
Yes.
getting the perfect wedding photos, and ones that you're really just going to cherish, want to blow up. put on your walls, and we hope that you love for the rest of your
Absolutely.
life. So awesome! This is very cool.
good.
We did it.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's check in with Natalie. Natalie, okay, we were going to answer your comments and your questions on our Facebook page, and we're going to post a bunch of links in there for any information that you guys need. So in the meantime, we appreciate you hanging out
Absolutely.
with us.
Any of you that are watching in the replay, add comments below. We're going to be checking them all week. We're going to be finding new topics. Some of the comments, we might even just respond to you right there and give you a quick heads up. If it's a topic we can bring to the channel and bring on here, we're going to absolutely do it.
Okay.
So let us know how we can help.
All right, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next Wednesday.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon.